Now, Cyril Ramaphosa's excuse me, National Dialogue Initiative has hit a couple of road bumps, and things aren't going exactly according to plan. Now, the National Loot Dialogue was initially announced right after President Trump first started hitting South Africa from literally all sides. We saw tariffs being floated. There were a number of issues with BRICS, BEE, kill the boer, kill the farmer. And in the midst of all of this chaos, President Ramaphosa comes out and says, the nation, we will have a national dialogue convention where all the people of the country will be able to speak their mind. And together, as a country that has dialogue, I remember the press conference very well, where he said the word dialogue way more times than anyone should ever say the word dialogue. And I'm dangerously close to actually coming to that breakpoint. But effectively, it was, as is with always the case with communist governments, a way to deflect, right? Whenever communist governments throughout history, this is true for Mao's China, this is true for Stalin's Soviet Russia, this is true for Pol Pot and Cambodia. Uganda was the one where they didn't make so much of a fuss about looking crazy, but Idi Amin was a whole special beast. Venezuela did the same thing. Cuba did the same thing. The whole point is to project strength outward, right? Even if things are rotten under the surface and even if the core is completely gone, it needs to project outward. I'll give you guys a great example. The night before the Soviet Union collapsed, the Soviet Union looked stronger than ever. In fact, it wasn't even the intention that the Soviet Union should collapse. The idea was simply to free Germany so that East and West Germany could be reunified. But it had nothing to do with the collapse of the Soviet Union, except most people didn't know just how weak the Soviet Union had become at that point in time. And so when the wall came down, it all basically came crashing down. This is the same thing that's happening with this national dialogue. Now, when the dialogue was first announced, a lot of political parties pretended like this was a really good thing. And that, oh boy, just what a day. We'll finally be able to talk. Most voters and people in the country were listening to this going, what the hell is the point? Like, we just had a national dialogue. It's called voting. We went into a little booth. We made an X. That was us speaking. We did our part. Now you're supposed to do the things we asked for, except now you're saying, well, we couldn't hear you that well. You should say it again. Only this time, as it turns out, we'll control what you're allowed to say and what you can't say. That, by the way, is one of the key problems here. So we found out 3 days ago that a number of legacy foundations, the Thabo Mbeki Foundation, the FW de Klerk Foundation, and a number of others, withdrew from the first preparatory meetings in the national dialogue. And they cited alongside this a number of key issues that they have specifically with the national dialogue and how it feels like it's a little bit rushed. So just very quick. It is with deep regret, but with unwavering conviction, that we have resolved to withdraw our participation from the structures of the preparatory task team and the first national convention of the national dialogue scheduled on 15th of August 2025. This is due to our belief that core principles meant to underpin the whole national dialogue have been violated in the rush to host a gathering on the 15th of August. These core principles are initially, I don't know what they were talking about, because their main problem appeared to just be a lack of planning. Like, it doesn't seem like the ANC knows what they want to do. We now know even more. Even Musi Maimane, who is in charge of this kind of thing in Parliament, even he said he doesn't know how this is going to get funded because it wasn't part of the budget. There is no money for this. So effectively, if they want to fund this and it's 700 mil, they're going to have to do it by taking money elsewhere. Right? So that just sort of shows you the level of planning that goes on here. But it now seems as if a little bit more has been revealed. So Freedom Front Plus comes out, I think this was yesterday. Yeah, literally yesterday. And they say, we're also not going to participate in the national dialogue. And their reasons for not participating is actually a little bit deeper, I guess you could say. So they have to say, unfortunately, it's become crystal clear that the ANC, the biggest party in the government of national unity, is not ready for a truly thoughtful, solution-driven dialogue. He noted that ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula, on behalf of the ANC's National Executive Committee, confirmed that it has no intention of forsaking its failed economic and foreign policy. And you can imagine, for a country that is now supposed to be heading into a national dialogue where the people are able to air their complaints and we talk honestly about the future, but also the downfall of this country, when the minister comes out, or when a minister comes out and says, look, this is how it is. We will not debate or discuss this. These things are here to stay. You can imagine just how people suddenly go, wait, but what's the point then of this discussion? The same is true, by the way, for AfriForum, who now became the latest to pull out of the national dialogue, and they quote the exact same problems. The fact that the ANC has no interest in actually leading this conversation on behalf of citizens or allowing citizens to lead the conversation, but it's a monologue. The ANC wants exact control over what gets discussed, how it gets discussed, and what is the resolutions that come from said discussions. Which, of course, is not a dialogue. It's literally just the ANC running its own propaganda campaign with 700 million rand that taxpayers will have to fund. And here you have again the ANC doubling down, right? Fikile Mbalula. ANC reaffirms commitment to transformation and calls for protection of BBBEE gains. I asked just very quickly, can I trouble you for a quick list of all these gains? I've yet to receive a list, by the way. No one has been able to point out what the gains of BEE or BBBEE has actually been. From what I can gather, the gains are a declining economy, soaring unemployment. In fact, we just found out that the employment rate has gone from 32% to now 33% in less than a quarter. So it's actually getting worse. We have more people on government grants than ever before. We have an economy that is shrinking at a rapid rate. We have a population that is getting poorer at a rapid rate. I'll just make you guys a little bit depressed here, right? So that you can join me on this station. That is my life. But okay, I just asked Grok, and I did double check the findings. I asked Grok to tell me what the CPI basket was in 2011 versus the CPI basket in 2025. Now, the CPI basket is literally the consumer price index. And they take a basket of between 23 and 28 items. It changes every year because they fuddle the numbers. But they take a basket of goods that the average person would buy in a month, and then they price it, right? So they price it. They go to all of the shops and they find an average, and that's how they work it out. In 2011, it was 372 Rand per basket. In 2025, it's 1,330 Rand per basket. This is a 358% increase on a basic basket of goods. Basic basket. This is no luxury goods. This is just basic. When we do the same with electricity, and I'm going to do it, I'm putting together a video. This is part of the research of that video. If I look at electricity, what will the price be from 2011 to 2025? When I start to look at fuel, what will that price be? And then when I finally do the courageous thing of looking at rent from 2011 to 2025, and then at salaries from 2011 to 2025, I will see a downward trend in salaries. I will see an upward trend in everything else. So in other words, your salary has not increased by 358%, but your expenses have. So what exactly, Mr. Fikile Mbalula, are these gains? So it makes perfect sense why a lot of parties are now stepping away from the national dialogue. And the national dialogue is crumbling because the national dialogue was never actually about dialogue. It was never about the ANC learning how to run the country, how to operate the country, or learning from their mistakes. Their mistakes are baked into the process. You cannot criticize their mistakes because the mistakes are not mistakes, it's features of the system. Instead, what the ANC wants is a number of people that sing their praises, tell them how they can do all of the stuff they're already doing, but better, right? And control so that they can tell the rest of the world, see, our people are loving us. we're such a good government. Like, actually, we don't even know how we didn't get 100% of the vote. We'll fix that in 2029. That's literally all this is, by the way. It's just the ANC running its own propaganda campaign and making the taxpayers pay for it. But, ladies and gentlemen, let me know in the comment section down below. We've covered the national dialogue quite a bit, but I'd love to read your thoughts. As always, if you like what I do, you like honest and rational conversation, not unbiased. I am biased, so my opinions will always be biased, but I try to be honest in my approach to the facts. Let me know in the comment section down below. Hit that little like button and subscribe, because all of that does help. Massive shout out and thank you to all of the patrons as well as the YouTube channel members for making it possible for me to do what I do. For early access to a lot of my videos, just hit the join button below this video or click the link in the description down below. As always, be good to each other, be kind to each other, and I'll see all of you in the next one. Peace.